Hi Sonia, welcome back to my art channel. Today I'm going to do I guess it's going to be an art vlog, or I'm going to show some processes. My plan is to work on this, was it a concertina? I made, instead of doing like a typical zine that I've done here before, I've decided to do, a fold out one, because I thought actually, one, it's quite a nice size, and I thought you can use both sides, like use all the paper a bit more. And I just fancied having a go with some wax resist, some collage bits. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be working on. Also, I've been working on this week. It hasn't been terribly productive from an art point of view, but that's fine. But I have still been working in my like abstract altered sketchbook, which is always lovely to warm up in. And yeah, I have, what else do I want to do? The other reason I'm talking, I thought show my face and also get to show that I am working back on canvases. I did this actually last week, added to this one. This was an abstract painting that I didn't like. Actually, it's been several paintings. Its current reincarnation is going to be a sort of an expressive landscape. And I want to show it now because I kind of like this stage, which is probably why I'm hesitant to go back on top, because I'll probably ruin it in some ways or want to start again. And then I've got a little, oh gosh, what's it? That little canvas, if you see on my rotor trim, that one is the one I repaint and repaint over. And I kind of use up the colours, as you can see, and I kind of like those colours at the moment. So yeah, join me in this art video. I'm not sure where it's going to go. I'll probably just video some processes and then maybe do a voiceover to try and make it a little bit, what's the word, focused. Okay, so this is it's going to be a process video. It's about 15 minutes, this segment, in case you're not interested, or you could skip ahead. And then right at the end, there is a look at some art from this week, which after my rather negative start, I ended up doing quite a bit of varied stuff. So I've actually, I am quite pleased with the different genres that I fitted in this week. This, though, is a closer look at the Concertina sketchbook I made. It's made from one sheet of drawing paper. It's a pretty, I mean, you can probably see like a sort of, I can make a video on this if anyone is really interested. There's lots of videos on them. It's super simple. Why I like this is I was getting a little bit, I felt like I was making those little booklet zines that I've shown on this channel that a lot of artists make. I think I got it off, is it Austin Cleon made a really good video about it. And I thought I needed a different format. It felt a bit stale. And I also like the fact with this way of making a zine, you're using all the paper, like back and front, every bit is used. And it's made from, as per usual, the sort of drawing paper that I've got, a ream of this sort of thickish drawing paper that serves my purposes. So I feel like I can go on it with paint. And you can use watercolour. I wouldn't go crazy with watercolour, but I think gouache works very well on it. If you see me hesitating, it's because I'm also listening to something as I work. So yeah. And then I use collage. This is from my altered book project. So I've cut out sheets because when you're altering a book, if you're going to do collage within an old book, it can sort of thicken. It can become quite voluminous. And so if you cut out some of the sheets, it just gives you more room to use heavier paint and stick more stuff in. And then these sheets of paper, I feel, as you see at the end, when I come to the end, I use them. Sometimes you can just use them to do really quick studies on, abstract studies, just have a play, because otherwise what else are you going to do? They'll end up in the recycling bin. Or paint on them and use them for collage papers, collage fodder. A tempera, here I'm using a kid's tempura. I think I'm getting confused with the Japanese food, but you know what I mean. These sticks of tempera paints. And a lot of artists I've seen are using these as well. I think they are very handy because, on the go, you could just take one out. They could just add a little bit of colour, and then you could do, if you wanted to keep to a black ink drawing, you've just got to pop a colour on you if you don't want to take out minimum supplies. That's my idea for the future. If I go urban sketching or hiking or running again, maybe just take one colour and a black ink pen. And yeah, then I'm using, what have I got here? Oh, these are some cheap oil pastels. It is the, where is the brand? Have I got it in front of me? Artico. They were like $10 on Amazon. And yeah, they're kind of very waxy, so good for wax resist. I almost like the cheaper ones. I'm really gone off. If I make a video on art supplies I regret, I didn't, not so much buying because these ones were gifted, but I just don't love very soft oil pastels. I find them too fiddly for fixing and a bit too messy. So I think I almost prefer the sort of cheaper kids waxy ones, like the Pentel ones. This is just personal preference. Turning a piece upside down, another technique I sort of utilised here was turning the sketchbook upside down, because that freed me up. I think I've learned if I'm getting stuck on taking too long to make decisions in my head, turning it upside down makes me more free for whatever reason. It helps me just get going and on with it, because I don't want to, for you guys out there as well, when I've been doing, I know a lot of you don't have a lot of time necessarily for art. You're fitting it in amongst all your other day jobs, caring, life. You're not, if you've got chronic illnesses, what a lot of us don't have long periods of time. So as I say, one way of reducing that whole sitting around, I don't know what to do, is turn the piece around, turn it upside down, turn it to a different side. Yeah, and if it's giving you too much trouble, I'd actually say put it to one side and then get out a scrappy piece, start working on that. And yeah, I guess it's sort of sometimes, not always, maybe you want to do some slow art. And I definitely from time to time don't mind taking time in my decisions and slowing down. But from time to time, we want the momentum. We want the kind of like the energizing effect of art. The sort of, oh my gosh, that happened. That was really exciting. That's giving me, I want to try this. And, and I think the nice thing about an art session like this, low pressure, is you can still leave feeling, oh, I've made something. Let's go on to another task and, other chores or things we have to do in life. And I don't know, try and make it fun as well. That's sometimes what can happen. Sometimes there's no filling in forms or bureaucracy fun, but hey ho. Have it as a reward for when you've done that form. And here I am just, then I was like, let's use some different colours, add in some sort of bushes. When I'm thinking of landscapes from memory, I just really like, they're sort of kind of like plain landscapes from memory, and then it's almost like I add my sort of twist to them, sort of, if you look at a certain clouds or a mist, or a language of marks that help you, I don't know, that become your own sort of, it's a way of having, I guess, your own little language, isn't it? Connecting with a scene. Good. So yeah, that is I think I wanted to share this, this as a process, because I think it's quite a nice one, and I think it ties in with the abstract workshop that I shared with you on this channel. And so I thought I would also use this as an opportunity to chat about some hopefully good news. I'm going to be making more YouTube videos for the Joy of Drawing. That's the art nonprofit, the Bay Area art nonprofit that I've worked for in the past. I've been a workshop teacher, and so I'm teaching. I actually, as I mentioned, have a class coming up with them in April. But I'm also going to be creative director for the Joy of Drawings, which is very exciting. So I've got lots of ideas. And one of them is to keep going to, I think with the YouTube channel, we're going to be doing a lot more free content there, and also introductions so that people can find out what the Joy of Drawing is up to. It's within the Bay Area. If you're in the San Mateo County Library, there's free classes available. They fund the art teachers and the organisation to run different classes there. And there's going to be also more workshops, online workshops, and more videos hopefully to come. So I'm really pleased that I've been the go ahead to bring over abstract art as well. I think for me, why I believe strongly in, I think this is great, is sharing. I think art should be hopefully available to all of us, but we might all want to do it in different sort of ways. Some of us might, like some people cannot get out, or they want free online classes, or they want to do abstract art one day. Maybe they want to do, some people might not have no interest in abstract art, and then you want, I don't know, landscape classes. So hopefully there's going to be something for everyone there. From my sort of way of doing it, I have to sort of follow what I'm interested in. So it's going to be changing genre, maybe some more loose expressive things, drawing from memory. We had a really great idea, Caroline and myself, like it'd be really lovely to do maybe sort of a more community element and do some art challenges there. So I need to investigate, maybe come up with some monthly art challenges that people can join in with. Very exciting. So I'm definitely going to carry on here on my channel. But maybe weekly videos to show what I've been up to, because obviously my personal work, as I've talked about, and you'll be bored stiff hearing. But this is, it has to support my art. My art is where I get all my ideas to share. It's where I sort of recharge when I'm by myself, and and I've got a lot out of it in many different ways. So I will, and hopefully, continue sharing here. And I hope you are all hopefully working on your creative projects too, whatever they may be. And I know people dip in and out of, life. I know some people are very multi-talented, and they do all sorts of different crafts, like sewing and interior design, all sorts of other hobbies that they dip in and out of. Me, I think sometimes I always think, I'm unfocused, but I do tend to. My big thing, obviously, is art. And so here I am. Where am I in my video? I am coming on to gluing more. These in bits of paper. This was a piece of paper that was repainted and repainted and repainted, and I kind of liked it for a bit, but then I got fed up, and I tried to cut it up in interesting ways, and now I'm just gonna use it for if I get stuck, or for covering up mistakes as well. I think sometimes these, as I've talked about I can't remember, an abstract sketchbook before, it was a way of getting into abstract, actually, because it was like I say, plunked. It's true. I plunk a piece of paper, a cut up old abstract, onto a new sketchbook spread, and there was something rather exciting about just seeing that bit of paper there. It sort of put me into the abstract zone. Otherwise, I think it could have been easy to sort of get caught up in my own head. But here it really has sort of varied the terrain, and I think changed up this abstract piece. Well, sort of an abstracted landscape, I guess. So and here, what am I doing here? I can't even remember. I'm using, I was interested to use this sort of ochre, I think it's a near colour, on that tan paper. You can't really see it, which I guess I knew would happen, but at the same time, sometimes it's about, I don't know, I'm often go to big contrasts, and I guess I was wanting to see what happens with more muted when I tone it down a bit, but I still want a little sort of differentiation. So I think it shows. I'm going to have to zoom up because I'm looking at my little tiny screen, so I can't even tell if you can tell, but there's two different sort of tones of that sort of ochre and that craft paper. And then I also like to use on these, what was the other thing that I wanted to share? Oh, okay. Because I don't feel precious about this piece at all. So here I'm using my sort of Winsor & Newton. They're good quality, actually. These are my artist grade quality watercolours. And I guess I wanted to see if I went very sort of light with them. One, I've got the wax resist, and I wanted to see how this would work on this sort of paper, and this, because I could just to take this project further, make another one of these little sketchbooks and just keep it watercolor and try that as as a bit of an experiment for myself. I was like, let's just go random colours. So these sketchbooks can also, in some ways, this is okay for me. This was finished when I come to the end of this. This was a finished piece. But what I want to say is that they can be finished for a time. You can put them away, but it's interesting when you open them up in like a few months, how you feel about them then. Either it can give you ideas and you don't want to touch it, and it's a really nice. You still feel it's finished. But sometimes I might come back and I'll be like, okay, this isn't speaking to me now. I'm going to use it to experiment on and go really detailed. And maybe even try another genre. So one of the things I was talking with Caroline about, like we're both interested in sort of the surrealist art and drawing from dreams and imagination, which is challenging. And for myself, I'm not getting much better at this, but I think the process of freeing up and loosening up and sort of having a go at more sort of naive drawing does take time. But a vehicle like this sort of low budget, sort of scrappy, you could say, sketchbook could mean that I could come back in. At the moment, I kind of like it as it is, to be honest, as a sort of an abstracted landscape, a playful landscape. But I could come back in and add, for example, some, play with, the cavemen, the drawings of bulls from prehistoric times, play around with sort of really trying to draw animals here. I could see some animals. I could go to my dreams if I have, sometimes have these sort of figures in your dreams, maybe incorporate them. Use it. I don't know, just completely play around with adding some more realistic drawing on top, or really go crazy if you're in a sort of an anxious mood. I could also use it as sort of a doodle pad, and on top of it come in with some, acrylic marker or what's the word, pencils, some sort of like if you ever want to tighten up, this is what I do, go to sort of a very fine tipped marker or pencil. So then as you can, I think this is near the end. So as I say, coming up will be one of sort of my little tours of the work I've done this week. And I really wanted to show, I've got, as I say, a gouache, it's called a landscape drawing, painting workshop coming up. And I am starting to prepare for that, because though this technique I have sort of developed over a good few years, to be honest with you, and it is one that's very dear to my heart, and I love it because I think you can get a nice little sketch done. I hope it will be easily achievable for other people, and I've shown, to be fair, if anyone needs one for free, I have got some processes I think on this channel, but as I say, it's one that I have put a lot of effort into, and there's been a lot of trial and error, but I think I've got it down to a pact. And I even, with the piece I show, it was quite a complicated, I haven't got the photo, but the photo that I drew from was fairly a complicated scene for me, and I was happy with the outcome. Okay, so here I am, just sort of comparing both sides. I did that here. Sometimes I will hold up bits of paper as well against I tell you what is hard is finishing, isn't it? I always find finishing a piece of work, be it a sketchbook, a sketch, it's almost like, I don't know, it's hard to know when something is done, but I think sometimes I need to step away in a bit. I was like, I feel like this is a good point to stop. But it is hard to sometimes. I think the hardest bit for me with art is knowing when something is finished. So one of the ways I actually have dealt with that is to know that it isn't finished, but if I get it to a point that I'm sort of happy with, then I will let it. I look at it as placing it down for a bit, letting it just sit. Putting it up on a wall is really helpful, keeping the work out. Okay, so the next section of this video is about to start, and it will be my run through of the week. Okay, in this section, I'm going to just go through some art I've made this week, and yeah, in no particular order. Actually, let's start here. So yeah, this little sketch I did yesterday, just by myself. I'm just practicing because I've got this workshop coming up and trying to, yeah, so hopefully I'll have my technique, as it were. I think if I practice, then I'll be able to talk while doing it a bit better. And yeah, I'm pleased with this actually because it was a bit of a scrappy, the beginning stages. I struggled because it's quite a detailed sketch. I was trying to use, I haven't got the photo to hand, but I was trying to use a more detailed photo. And I've just cut out some stuff. It was an exercise in slight simplification, but at the same time, I think I've kept the essence of this walkway. It was in Washington to one of them, halfway to a museum. This is in my sort of like road trip journal. So I did that in gouache and pencil. And then there's this one, which is in another sketchbook. I did a 10-minute sketch. That process is over on the Joy of Drawing. I'll try and link below. I'm terrible at linking things. But I did a 10-minute, my final sort of 10-minute exercise in this series for the non-profit. So that's been going well. It's been a busy time, and I'm having a meeting with Caroline actually in a bit. So just thinking about my workshop and hearing about all the plans with the non-profit. And then this week, getting back to it, after my sort of abstract workshop that I did end up putting quite a bit of preparation in, I sort of wanted a week to just, my art making has been a bit like a lot of you, a little bit episodic. It hasn't been long stretches of time. So I've been coming in and I was like, how can I do some really low, I just didn't want to like stuff I could like chuck, but weirdly, I'm going to keep them for a bit. So I've got these scraps with the altered sketchbooks. I like to cut out pages because it makes a reduced volume of pages. Thus, you can add more collage, and I've learned that. And sometimes they do get quite bulky. To be fair, sorry if it's zooming in and out of focus. I always forget to turn autofocus off on the iPhone. So I'll try and. Anyway, here we go. So these are just fun, using up some jelly gouache that was drying up. And yeah, I mean, what I can do with these sheets of paper is then choose segments, cut them down, maybe stick them in a sketchbook. But what the other fun thing you could do, if you want an inspiration wall, I would suggest what I have learnt through using washi tape is my pictures fall off after a while, but if they're lightweight bits of paper, I feel it stays up a bit better if you want to make a nice gallery wall for yourself with your own art. Okay, then do you know what I did with the acrylic markers? I'd drawn some flowers, which was fine, but for whatever reason, I didn't love that page, so I've covered it up. And I really enjoy when I've got leftover good gouache, just doing floral sometimes. That was just a relaxing exercise at the end of that more detailed sketch. And you can see I sort of squeezed out some of this really bright, I think it's an opera pink, and I thought let's use it up in a floral study. And do you know what I based that flower off? I can't find it now. There's a little bit, I got some like amaretti biscuits from Trader Joe's, and the packaging was so pretty, so I sort of cut it up. I might have stuck it into this book, so I stuck some of them. I was sort of just using it as a inspiration, a shape for more flowers. And as you can see, I've been preparing paper ahead of time. It's something I've learned to do so that I've got fun colours and backgrounds to get going on. So maybe I'll do another sort of a similar flower study over on that side. Okay, then on to this sketchbook. It is basically finished. This is, yeah, a bit of my pride and joy. It's gonna be weird doing it. Yeah, I'm going to do a sketchbook tour of this. I might like do it for a spring break as one then, so I can, yeah, I like sketchbook tours. They feel like, I do feel quite, for myself, proud when I've completed a sketchbook. I've stuck with it. It's full up. And I'm going to go through it one more time just to check Every page is how I want it for the time being. Oh, this one I also went back and altered. I do alter pages from time to time. When I've been looking through some of my old sketchbooks for inspiration, I'm like, oh, I could come back to this sketchbook and redo some of the pages. But yeah, I'm trying to focus on some unfinished sketchbooks at the moment, some work on paper, because I think that's sort of quite fun. Okay, so abstract art, utilizing, I really did. I've washed out that plate. I had a little plate of gouache that I'd squeezed out, and I used it all up. And then I finally, how I like to finally use that sort of gouache, because it all becomes a bit muddied, and I sort of like want to use every single use it. I mix all the colours, and I ended up. What's quite nice is you end up with sort of, I think, related works, but it allowed me to really not care so much. I was like, is this squash going to be super muddy and gross? But actually, it wasn't. I feel like I've got some rather nice some sketchbook spreads, and using. I would not. I did it. It's weird, isn't it? The simplest things, actually. I don't want to alter this page. I really like this page. This sketchbook. Oh, here we go. This is the paper that this is going to be like a one I build on. It's kind of like an anything goes. It's probably going to be mostly abstract art. I haven't really known what to do with this particular notebook. It's a notebook. It's not a sketchbook. It's a moleskin. My husband gave it to me. It's a moleskin sort of squared paper notebook. And I guess I could use it as a note. I was thinking about, maybe doing writing, but I always try and do writing. Then I reread it and I don't like what I've sort of, I don't know, handwritten about. So I was like, maybe I have finished have I done the sketchbook tour, the big abstract sketchbook? I can't remember, but I have finished my sort of larger abstract sketchbook too. So yeah, I don't know really. I need to find, it's really weird when you finish a sketchbook. I find it really hard sometimes starting a new one. They start off a bit weird, like I don't know what I want them to be, and then maybe because of the paper or the way the work's heading, I'm like, actually, I'm going to stick to abstract. I have this week been coming back and filling in, doing a lot in this one. This is just so low pressure, and I love these metallic gouache paints as well. I feel like I'm really using up some older art, not older art supplies, but art supplies that really I don't think will keep terribly well. Look, some art supplies will keep for years, and I can vouch for that. Years and years and years, like the relative. This is why I think people. I know art supplies are expensive, but I sometimes think if you compare them to other items, they actually do give you. I used to think about if you buy like a coat cost per wear, like the good quality is better because then it lasts and lasts. Good quality art supplies, I think sometimes cost per use, they will last you for like the Caran d'Ache crayons will. I mean, providing you're not colouring in masses amounts of paper, then they'll last you for ages. But I think it is obviously good. Don't keep things. I'm really trying not to keep things for best. And then this page was this was me with I think I've shown these, using the acrylic markers and just playing about. And I think I've shown this. I can't remember where. Was it on Substack? Can't remember. But yeah, it does look like a quilt. I assume it's in the back of my head. I feel like a lot of people do this sort of building. It's just really relaxing. What's not to like? And then you just go back and add more detail. I really like then the Jelly Roll pens have lasted me for years. I've got these Jelly Roll pens, and they just add a bit of neon when I want it. Like here. I took the Philip Gaston book back to the library, but I was in some ways influenced by his drawing, so I need to move on with that book. Anything else? Okay. Oh, I can show you while I'm here, and then I'm going to say goodbye because I didn't get to. I had behind me, as you see, there was the. I haven't done any more to the canvases. Maybe next week. Okay, this was my little. This is in my gouache landscape sketchbook. There's a process video here, and this is the 10th. So this was. I should write this down. No, I put the wrong date. I put it as a date, but it was 15 minutes. This sketch, and this was 10 minutes. and I did go in with a little bit of oil pastel. It's amazing how quickly actually 10 minutes does go. So I can see, yeah, it was a helpful exercise. I think time exercises are really helpful if you're wanting to, be aware of how long a certain process takes you, and also how much you can fit in. Like you can, cover an area and get a basic sketch in. But one other approach when I was making this video, I suddenly thought for people is if you've only got, you could still like take away all the, you could do 10 minutes, get your block colour down, and then come back and then do 10 minutes of adding oil pastel. Then you can come in on a final day and then do 10 minutes of like really going in with some more gouache. So it'd be 30 minutes, but over 3 days for people who really only get like, I don't know, 10-minute breaks, and you can see what you end up with. Just a fun idea. Anyway, as always, I hope I hope you've been making art, quite frankly, with me. That's my number one aim with this. Like I'm making art when I'm listening to people. And yeah, and I thank you for watching. And I don't know what I'm going to be back with next week. To be honest with you, I'm not making plans, but I will, yeah, maybe see you next week. Okay then, bye.